The grandeur of Buckingham Palace stood in contrast to the quiet determination of its most celebrated couple. Prince William and Princess Catherine had just concluded a royal engagement, one of many in their packed schedule. Yet this wasn't just any engagement. It was 2024, and Catherine's resilience had become the unspoken star of the day. Despite undergoing treatment for cancer, she remained the epitome of grace and poise, inspiring everyone around her. But even the strongest need a moment of reprieve. The event itself was everything one would expect from a royal occasion: meticulous planning, endless cameras, and a sea of admirers waving Union Jacks. William, dressed in his striking red military uniform, was the picture of composure, his role as both future king and devoted husband blending seamlessly. Beside him, Catherine wore a flowing blue gown that seemed to glow in the soft evening light. Her presence was magnetic, not just because of her elegant attire, but because of the quiet strength she radiated. As the crowd outside Buckingham Palace dispersed and the last of the dignitaries departed, the couple made their way to a secluded section of the palace. The weight of the day began to lift as they walked through the grand halls, the echoes of their footsteps the only sound. For Catherine, it had been another triumph, an event where her illness had been kept private, her smile masking the challenges she faced behind closed doors. Reaching a private balcony, the couple paused. Catherine leaned against the stone railing, taking in the view of the sprawling palace grounds. The wind played softly with her hair, and for a moment, the world seemed to shrink to just the two of them. William joined her, his posture protective yet relaxed. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. His presence, steady and reassuring, said enough. This was their routine now, balancing their public duties with the very private reality of Catherine's health. Catherine leaned lightly against the balcony railing, her blue gown flowing around her like water. The colour was striking, chosen not just for its elegance but also for what it symbolized: calm, strength, and resolve. For Catherine, it was a quiet nod to the battles she fought daily, ones the world only glimpsed. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the cool evening breeze brush her face. William approached, his red uniform as vivid as ever, though slightly less crisp after hours of wear. He stood beside her, his hand resting briefly on her back, before sliding into his pocket. "Tired?" he asked softly, his voice breaking the stillness. Catherine smiled faintly, opening her eyes and turning to him. "Always," she said, her tone light despite the truth in her words. There was no need to elaborate. They had developed a rhythm in recent months, a quiet understanding that words couldn't always capture. William knew when to push and when to simply stand by her side. From their vantage point, the world seemed quieter. The usual cacophony of London felt muted, as if the city understood the weight of their shared moment. Catherine shifted, her hands resting on the railing as she looked out. "It's beautiful tonight," she murmured. William followed her gaze. "It always is when you're here." Catherine turned her head, raising an eyebrow at his uncharacteristically cheesy remark. He grinned, and for the first time that day she laughed. It was quiet but genuine, the kind of laugh that reminded them both of simpler times before the pressures of the crown and the shadows of illness loomed large. Unbeknownst to them, the moment wasn't as private as it seemed. Hidden discreetly among the ornate stonework of Buckingham Palace, a security camera quietly recorded their time on the balcony. It wasn't there to intrude, but to maintain the safety of the royal family. What it captured, however, was far more than just a piece of footage. It was a rare glimpse into the human side of royalty. For William and Catherine, the balcony moment was likely just one of many small exchanges in their private lives. Their love wasn't meant to be a performance. It was in the stolen moments, the shared laughter, and the quiet gestures of support that defined them as a couple. As the palace lights dimmed that night, and the world outside carried on, the recording was safely archived, a silent testament to their humanity and resilience.